Hey friends, Jewel back, and I wanted to talk about the opposition between Mars and Uranus in the birth chart, because apparently there's a lot of people out there in the audience that have got this one going on. So Mars is our sense of assertiveness, aggression, and it's different from the Sun in that it, yes, does represent our ego, but it is the ego part of us that wants to be appreciated for what we do, what we get, what we apply our energies to. The Sun is what we want to be appreciated for being and for showing up as. They're different in that Mars is the assertive part of the ego and the identity. So it's what we want people to look at us and say, oh yeah, they did this or they accomplished this, and they, look good in my eyes. So Uranus is the iconoclast. It is the planet of forward thinking, the planet of not the individual, but the individual within the collective. So it's a rebellious energy. Uranus is the big punk planet. He does what it wants to do because it's really it is not a personal influence. So there's a lot of safety in the group, if you could look at it that way. And wherever Uranus is where things are going to be have somewhat of a rebellious quality to them. It's not about tradition at all. And so when we have these two in an opposition, oppositions are about acting or reacting in ways where we see what we're dealing with directly in the other person. So there are very strong mirroring aspects. And basically, with this aspect, this opposition, we love to stir up trouble. We love it. It's part of our identity. It's part of what we think that we want to be appreciated for. Arousing others to just about anything is what we love when we have this particular opposition. We are basically troublemakers. And rebelliousness does not describe these people. They are actually contrarians and oppositionally defiant. They really have a lot of fun with pissing the rest of us off. So, if you say tomato, they say tomato, bitch. They are not going to ever put themselves in a position where you are going to be able to get one up on them. They stand back and laugh at how the rest of us react to their the things they say or the things they do, because they will say and do things just to get a reaction out of the rest of us. They don't even necessarily mean it. So, in fact, creating oppositional reactions in others is how they're learning about the boundaries of their own temperament and anger and aggression. What is going to be tolerated by the people around them is really where they know that they begin and they end. So they're really looking to prove their Mars, their will, through reckless or risky or oppositional ways of being. The ego is actually boosted in these people when you react negatively to them, because it proves to them that they're seen. They enjoy shock and awe, because it gets your attention and it proves to them that they matter. It proves to them if they can get that kind of reaction out of you, you see them. They matter. They're there. You're proving to them. See, they're proving to themselves, but to them, you're proving to them that they matter. Do you see how oppositions work? So this is an aspect where if they can piss you off or if they can throw you off base or rouse you into any kind of state, they feel that they've proven their dominance. So there's a lot of psychology that's behind this opposition. You better watch out if a woman has it, because it's even more obnoxious. They take it even farther than a man, because they see it as, well, as a woman, I have to work even harder to get you to rise up. And this is something that is pretty conscious a lot of the times, because they actually enjoy this behavior, but it's pretty unconscious a lot of the times, meaning that they can't help it because it is a part of their loop. So they basically hate authority, restraint, thumb their nose at it. And if you can work with them instead of trying to get them to work for you, this can work pretty good. This particular opposition, generally they don't work well with others. They do better on their own. They do better, all hard aspects from Mars to Uranus. They do better when they can be an individual within an organization. They get into a lot of trouble when it comes to authority. They don't know when to stop. When when there's matters of how far can they push people. They will push people as far as they possibly can. And this is why they lose friendships. They lose relationships. They can even lose family members because they are so forceful with their energies. And they don't, because of the nature of these two planets, there's not a lot of feeling or tenderness involved here. They don't understand the impact generally of how their need to laugh at the rest of our reactions has on the rest of us. And we can try to explain that to them, but generally people with this opposition they're not going to get it. They're going to see it as, well, you should toughen up, or you should have laughed that off, or, it's water off a duck's back kind of shit. Well, that's all fine and good for you because you're coming from this perspective of toughness and trying to stir something up, and you love to stir the pot. But the rest of us who have to deal with this don't really know what to expect from you. And there isn't a lot of emotional safety with someone that has this aspect, and we really need to have that if we're going to be able to rely on somebody, to be able to be in, to be able to invest our feelings in you, to be able to expect a certain amount of tenderness or warmth or understanding. So this opposition, it's great if you want to change the status quo, if you want to go into politics and really root out the evils that be. This is a great aspect to have. This is a great aspect if you're a female looking to break into certain careers that have to do with science or technology or race car driving or jumping out of airplanes or doing risky stuff. This is great. You will be able to push through those boundaries. You're going to create opposition, but you're probably going to be okay with that. So when you want to deal with a child who and an adult, actually, because won't tend to grow out of this opposition. If you want to deal with a child / elderly child who has this, when you give them a task, or you're the special ed teacher that's dealing with them because they've ended up in your alternative school because they have rebelled against every teacher that they've had so far. There's nothing wrong with them mentally, actually quite bright. That's kind of the problem. If you're one of these people that has to deal with the people that have this opposition, what you do is you give them a task, or you give them an instruction, or you give them a deadline or a piece of work, and you say, this is what I need from you, this is when I need it done, do it or don't do it. And then you leave it to them. Most of the time, they're going to do it because you haven't invested your will in that project. You're turning it completely over to them. They have nothing to fight against. The ball is completely in their court. What they're looking to do is to take that ball. These are the people or the kids that in dodgeball I could not stand, because they were the ones that were standing on the outside, taking that ball and trying to aim for the most sensitive part of your body so they could just whack that thing into you. And this is why dodgeball is, you know, pretty much illegal in most schools, or probably should be. So leave it up to them. These are tough people. And in an otherwise sensitive chart, this can be something that lends a really helping hand, because it can toughen somebody up or make their energy available in ways that can be very balancing to a more dependent type of chart or personality. So there's definitely good things associated with this aspect. If you want someone who can get something done, hire somebody who has this opposition. Now, they're probably going to stir up some trouble while they're doing it, but it's going to be entertaining to watch. They do tend to have great sense of humors. These people learn quickly. They do tend to be people who work with their hands best. They prefer trades. They prefer jobs that represent a certain amount of excitement. They're great entrepreneurs too, because that takes balls. You have to be willing to risk, and they like the sharkiness of business as well. So this one lends a lot of strength. It lends a certain amount of brilliance when it comes to how somebody can use their powers of energy. Their timing, their physical timing tends to be very good. So, you know, people that rely on the reflexes, really, really great to have this particular opposition. Not a great one to be the parent of, because they do tend to oppose you at every corner. And again, you can't put too much pressure on these people. You can't put any pressure on them, in fact. You can't ask much of them, because they will go the other direction. It's really about putting the ball in their court and making it clear that what they do is going to affect them. They are really out to see how they can affect the rest of us with their rebelliousness or with their inability to conform. And when you don't give them that opportunity to bounce that off of you, they will do what they need to do. They will meet that deadline, generally. So I hope this was helpful. If it was, please subscribe to my channel. You can find me on the internet at truthandaspectastrology.com. I actually hesitated there for a second, because I was going to issue a little bit of an apology in case I kind of pricked somebody's feelings with this video. But then I remembered it's Mars opposite Uranus. Can't do that. See you next time.